What's good, YouTube, man? Flash Speaks back, man, for another video. Real quick, man. This is something I've been meaning to touch on for a while because I see it kind of in many places where people are speaking about the great Dr. J, or Julius Erving, otherwise known as Dr. J. And oftentimes, you're going up to a guy like Dr. J, and you're asking him, who's the GOAT basketball player of all time, greatest of all time, or who's his top five, and all that kind of stuff. And then when someone like Dr. J doesn't mention who you think should be mentioned, whether it's Michael Jordan, whether it's LeBron James or Kareem or whoever you think it is, y'all got a nerve, or many of y'all feel like you can tell Dr. J he's wrong, or tell Dr. J that, he tripping, he's jealous, and a whole bunch of nonsense, man, that, that I got a serious problem with. First of all, this is the thing. You got to try your level best to do when you're considering who's speaking and you're judging the statements of a person. I think you need to try your best to look at who this dude is and why he has the perspective that he has before you go out there making a judgment about him. First of all, you need to understand who the F Dr. J is, Julius Erving. Number one, Julius Erving is a guy that came before most of the guys you're talking about. Like, Julius Erving was the guy that when the NBA truly was about to collapse after, Wilt Chamberlain retired, after Bill Russell retired, after the Celtics dynasty pretty much was done and gone. You got to look at the 70s, that era, where really the main star you had in the 70s was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Great player. One of the greatest centers of all time, and in many's opinion, the greatest center of all time. However, not probably the most entertaining guy. He definitely wasn't a guy that had the type of personality that the NBA will push at the time, because number one, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did something that was very problematic, or the word of controversial. And that is, he accepted the religion of al-Islam. And not only did he accept Islam, he didn't accept some unorthodox, what you would call heretical style of Islam. Because if you look back in the 70s and the 60s, it was very popular for people to come out and just change their name, and like Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay initially. He joined the Nation of Islam, right? But the Nation of Islam is, according to the what you would call the normative practice of Islam, was considered a heretical sect because they have a completely different belief system from what the religion of Islam was known as for 1400 years or so, right? So my point is, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't accept a heretical sect. He really was embraced by he embraced the real traditional Islam, right? That's one thing. That's not something that's really looked upon in a good way, especially from the standpoint of like businessmen, because it's strange to them. Marketing to them, they like to market what they are familiar with. Just a good upstanding, tax-paying, Christian type of guy who follows what's popular in the United States because they feel like that's what's going to sell. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wasn't a guy that they would want to push as the face of the league. Other guys they had in the 70s, Rick Barry probably was a guy. Pistol Pete Maravich was a guy that they probably liked. Of course, John Havlicek of the Celtics, they were trying to push. But when you really look at the 70s, they didn't have that guy until Julius Erving came. But Julius Erving was a guy who was playing in a different league, the ABA, which pretty much ended up merging with the NBA later on, and which helped to refuel everything. But the most entertaining basketball player in the 70s, besides maybe Pistol Pete, maybe Rick Barry, was Dr. J by far. I go talk to many of my old heads, and Julius Erving was just the guy, who had that style of play and the pizzazz. And he also had the character, and he also had the safe. He was also safe. Meaning, the general guy, Christian, goes to church, says all the right things, very marketable. He was one of the most marketable guys. I mean, I remember Julius Erving had, I think it was Dr. Pepper commercials. Julius Erving was the guy with the, that Converse was pushing the most. He was doing Colgate toothpaste commercials, all types of stuff, with Dr. J. So when you look at him from his standpoint, he was that dude, man. And especially in the 70s, and you talking about the mid 70s. He was that dude so much so that he was imitated, his style, more than anybody else's. A style that he pretty much gained from guys who came before him, like Connie Hawkins, like Elgin Baylor, who was really probably his favorite player, because he was that wing player. He made that wing thing, more popular than anyone else. Prior to that, it was about big men. So when you talk about Julius Erving gave birth to, stylistically gave birth to all of the wings that came up. Ask any of those guys in the 80s, whether it's Dominique Wilkins, who was the guy he wanted to be like? Julius Erving. Clyde Drexler, who's the guy he watched and wanted to be like? Julius Erving. Scottie Pippen, even on The Last Dance, he said that his favorite player, Julius Erving. Michael Jordan, the guy he was talking about imitating and wanting to be like, Julius Erving. Larry Nance. Like, you have, Doc was that dude that all the wing players were trying to be like. So from Doc perspective, from perspective of an alpha dude who's that guy, he's not all about, when you ask him who's the greatest and all of that, he's coming from a think tank, from a base that's way larger than yours. He don't look at Michael Jordan and he's not super enthralled. Oh my God, this is the greatest shit. He's not doing that. When he looks at LeBron, he's not doing that, because he's coming from the standpoint of a dude that was that dude. You understand what I'm saying? It's number one. So he's looking at what he birthed when he's looking at these guys. Now, sure, those guys may have taken what Doc had, his, basic, and he wasn't basic at all, but they took what he had and maybe added on to it. We could say those things. Like, but even Mike, he added on from a lot of people. Mike added on from Doc. He actually added on from Bird. That turnaround fadeaway, that was something Bird was doing before Mike even tried it. You understand what I'm saying? So y'all gotta understand, man. Doc ain't no dude you can go to and just be thinking he gotta be dick riding the same dude you dick riding. He's Doc, dog. He's Doc. You know what I mean? And I know, as a guy from Philadelphia, like me growing up, Doc was everything, man. I remember as a little kid, 6 years old, whatever, when the Sixers, well, what was I, like 7, 8 years old when the Sixers won? In 1983, I remember as a little kid, rushing downstairs, everybody at the TV watching Doc and Moses. Had me halfway not even understanding what's going on, but I know Dr. J. You know what I mean? I remember the year when he retired and the respect he got around the league, man, when he did his tour, going away tour. Teams like the Lakers, the Celtics, all honored Doc, man. Teams like the Nuggets, of course the Nets, who he played for in the ABA. Doc was that. He was the face of the league. He was the league, bro. Doc was he was the prototype for all them wings, man, that's playing now. All your, whether you want to go Kobe's, McGrady's, you want to move on to Grant Hills and all that, the prototype for all these dudes was Julius Erving. So think and consider that and keep all that in mind before you think you can, like, really judge Julius Erving. Julius Erving ain't gonna dick ride who you dick ride, homie. Like, he's Doc. It's just, it is what it is. Like, you're never, like Michael Jordan, for example. I don't care if it's 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You're never going to hear Michael Jordan sitting up there saying anybody's better than him. Like, could you imagine that? Did Kobe do that? Right? Kobe Bryant literally was on a late night. You know, a game, late night with one of them dudes. I don't know if Jimmy Kimmel, one of them. And they asked Kobe, you know, who's better out of LeBron, Mike, or you? You know what I mean? A little dumbass, disrespectful question. What Kobe say? He said, man, me. He said, me, then Mike, then LeBron. You know what I mean? But a dude, some of y'all who never played nothing and all that, and you just enthralled with these athletes and all that, you can't understand the mentality of a dude that's not about believing anybody's better than them, man. The reason they were good as they were is they ain't believe nobody better than them. And Doc is the same way. Doc ain't about to believe Jordan was better than them. Fuck what you think. You could believe that all he want. That's your opinion. Doc looking at it like, listen, if let me and Mike be 25 years old, I feel like I'll bust his ass. He probably want to say that. He probably really feel that way. He probably feel like he'll bust LeBron ass, all of them. And that's his right. Because when he played, he was that dude, man. You know what I mean? I just be trying to let y'all dudes understand. You know, bro, y'all don't understand Doc, man. Julius Erving, man. Like, cause you, like, y'all, man. Listen, man, Doc said it straight up. He said since he's been growing up, his favorites were who? You know what I mean? I believe he said Wilt, Russell, you know what I'm saying? Elgin. He might have said Connie, I'm not sure. And he mentioned a couple other guys, man, like those who he grew up. That was his 5. And that's his 5. And not only is that his right, nigga, he Dr. J. If that's what he say, that's what it is, and that's it. Like, you shouldn't have disrespect for Stephen A. Smith and all these people thinking Doc gotta be saying it's Jordan or it's LeBron. LeBron and Jordan, dudes who like wouldn't exist if he didn't exist. You see what I'm saying? Man, try to do better with that, man. Like, I'm tired of that, man. I'm tired of seeing it, man. You know what I mean? Put some respect on his name, bro. I'm out of here, man. I'll get with y'all later. Peace out.